Hey guys, so in this video we'll be talking about how to cite your sources in your reference page. Now when you're creating your references, this is our APA sample paper, you're going to create, after your essay is done, you're going to create a separate page for your references. And in the center in bold, you'll have the word references typed up there. If you're only citing one source, then it would be reference, but if you're citing multiple sources, it will be references. Now, if you look down the list, you're going to see all of your sources will be alphabetized according to the first, the last name of the first entry. So all of your sources will be listed as A and then B and then C, etc. And that's how you'll organize your sources. Now, what we're going to be focused on in this video is how to organize the information in each citation. So the way that you cite each type of source is different. The way that you cite a newspaper is different from the way that you would cite a chapter in a book, etc., because each type of source is providing different information for you to cite. So we're going to be using the Purdue OWL website to learn how to cite each source. And remember, we're going to look up APA Purdue OWL, and we just click on that first link. Now, I do want to warn you, you should not use a citation generator or a citation machine because oftentimes it gives you the wrong format. Instead, you should learn how to manually cite your sources. That way, no matter what source you're using or what the variation is, you're going to know how to do that on your own. So what we're going to do is in the left menu, we're going to look up our reference list and try to figure out what type of source we have. Is it an electronic source, meaning a source that we're accessing online? Is it a book or some type of other print source that's not a book? Do we have other non-print sources like maybe YouTube videos, etc., or audiovisual media? So we just have to think about what type of source we have and then choose the appropriate section. So let's say we are citing a journal article that we've gotten from a research database online. What we're going to do is we're going to click Reference List Electronic Sources. And then we scroll down until we find the appropriate format. So here we have like a web page or a piece of online content. So that's for like a general article that you might find on a website. We have like a Wikipedia article, online scholarly journal article, etc. So the online scholarly journal article, that's the one that you'll be using if you're citing a source from a database, from a journal that appears in a database. And this is how you're going to sign it. If you have a DOI number assigned, and the article will say DOI on it, so that's how you know it has a DOI. This is the format that you'll be using, where first you're listing the last name of the author, comma, space, first initial, period, comma, space, the second author and their first and middle initial, the third author and first and middle initial, etc. Please note you're not using their full first name or full middle name, and you're also not using their qualifications. So if someone has their qualifications of PhD listed, etc., you're not going to be citing that. It's only the last name of the author, comma, first initial, period, middle initial if they have one, period. Now, after you've listed your authors, you're then going to list the year of publication in parentheses, then a period, and please pay attention to your commas, your periods, your spacings. If you have any mistakes in that, it makes your work look very messy. So just double check the format and make sure you're following it exactly. So after we have the year of publication, we then have the title of the article. Now notice that the first letter in this title is uppercase, but everything else is lowercase. So in the article, even if you if the article has like the first letter of each word is uppercase, you're not following that format. You're following this format. So you have to look at the capitalizations of letters. If it's the formal name of a person or a place, etc., then it will be uppercase, of course. Otherwise, it should be lowercase. So after you've listed the title of the article, you'll put a period, and then you will have the title of the journal italicized, the volume number italicized, and then in parentheses you'll have the issue number, not italicized, the page numbers that the article appeared on, and then a DOI number. If you do not have a DOI number, you'll be using the URL. So after you've listed the journal volume and issue and the page numbers, you're going to put retrieved on the date that you retrieved it from, and then the URL instead of having the DOI number there. So if you're using a journal article, this is the format that you're following. Now you can read the description under Online Scholarly Journal article to understand what information you need to list. And you know, anytime you see a source, there is a description above it, and so you can read that description to understand it a little better. If you're using an online news article, this is the format where you have the last name of the author, comma, first initial, period, in parentheses, you know, all of that stuff. So what you need to do is figure out what type of source you have, and then read the description under that source type, and then look at the example and follow the example exactly as it is with the spacings, capitalizations, italics, etc. And you should be fine. Now, if you have a variation in the number of authors and you're not really sure how to cite that, you can look under reference list author/authors, and you will see the rules for those variations. So if you have a single author, this is how you cite it. If you have two authors, you're just focusing on the author part of the citations to understand, and then you would go back to, like, if it's a journal article, etc., and continue the citation from there. So if you have two authors, that's how you list it. 3 to 20 authors, and again, you have the description above each source type. Above each example, so you can read that to fully understand it. And please note that whenever you have a citation, the first line is to the margin and each subsequent line is indented for each source that you have. So let's take a look at the sample paper so we can see an example of that. If you look down the list, you'll see the first line of each entry is to the margin, and then any line after that is indented. Now don't hit the enter button to create a second line so that you can indent it. Just type your citation, and then when the entry naturally goes over into a second or a third line, then you'll indent that. But this is how it should look when you're done with it. Okay, so I hope you guys have fun with your citations, and if you are unsure about the format that you should be following for your specific citation, then feel free to send me an email and I'll help you figure it out.